And welcome to In Between Sets podcast. I'm your co-host, Kate.
And I'm Abigail. That was the first time you said co-host.
No, I always say co-host. Anyway, we're co-hosts. And we are here today with Miss Kelly Poole. Kelly doesn't maybe know this, but I've talked about you often, like on the podcast. And
I know you have.
Yeah, I've talked about Kelly often. I've talked about Nick. How I met Kelly was through Impact. She was my coach. So she coached me for about a year. Yeah, for about a year. And I, just learned so much from her through being an entrepreneur, also just being a better coach myself. And then, yeah, just being a better female in general. One of the best things Kelly ever told me, among a lot of things, okay, among a lot of things was, and I say it and like people probably hear it on the podcast on my Instagram all the time, is you can either shame yourself to a goal or you can love yourself to a goal. Both places will get you there to the end result, but one is far more enjoyable. And ever since Kelly told me that, it was like rewiring circuit in my brain of like, yeah, why am I going to shit on myself? Like, I'm trying to get somewhere that's going to be really awesome and pleasurable. And why am I not allowing myself to like actually feel love in that? So, I thought who better to bring on the podcast than Kelly herself so that everyone else can kind of hear the nice little nuggets that she has. So Kelly, if you'll introduce yourself, we'd love to hear from you.
That's literally so sweet. I'm like, when people recite back to me the things that I've said to them, you know, I say something and it instantly leaves my brain and now it is out into the abyss. It belongs to the rest of the world. It no longer belongs to me or my brain. So I never remember. Yeah. So when I get them delivered back to me, I'm like, that's so cool.
Like, I said,
like, that's good. I said that. That's so
like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good of me. Hi, my name is Kelly Poole. I am an online health and wellness coach. I also do women's personal development. And like Kate had mentioned, I'm also the head coach of Alchemist Academy, where we coach coaches on how to basically focus on their business and leadership energetics, which is, again, kind of like the role that I got to play in your life, Nick played in my life, which allowed me to be where I am today. I always told him, I was like, I'm not a business coach. I don't want to be a business coach. Please don't make me do that. It really comes down to being a leader at the end of the day. And your personal development is such a mirror for your business, for your fitness, for absolutely everything in that. So I love what I get to do.
It's so funny to me that you started as a fitness coach, and then I've watched Kelly give like 2 presentations at the Austin Summit, and she was like, and I just don't even want to do fitness anymore. Now she's like, now I want to just do personal development and business coaching, and so yeah.
Which even my outlook on that has changed so much. I have such a love for fitness now and such an appreciation. I think I've graduated out of the I see it for being vain, whereas more so I see what it's capable of, like the vehicle that fitness is for personal development. I have such a love for it, of the awakening that it causes within so many people. And I mean, like, I'm sure you guys can equally vouch for it, of you got into fitness to probably attempt to look better. And then along the way, you realize that it was creating confidence outside of the gym. And then all of a sudden you believe in yourself to do hard things. And then suddenly you're building a business and creating a podcast and doing all of these other things. So it's, how could I hate the thing that built me, you know?
Literally. I think it's really cool too, because I think a lot of times people think business coach or personal development coach, at least in the fitness space, is like, okay, what's the next cert I can get? What's the best like marketing strategy, like all these different things. And you guys are so, and I could be wrong, but very unique in that it's like all focused on developing who you are as a person and like letting go of fear and all of this different stuff, which is what I saw in you over the last year. So it's really cool to see that, because I feel like that is something very unique about Alchemist Academy and like what you guys teach and preach, versus like, again, just like moving up in the marketing, the
like the actual
visually. Yeah. There's so much strategy behind business, the same way there's so much strategy behind fitness. But at the end of the day, if you're not bought into what you're doing, you will always be the bottleneck. And that's the position that I found Nick in, where I was really struggling. Is I was like, I know how to post on social media. I know how to be a coach. Why aren't I doing it? I know that I'm the problem. And that's what I feel like Alchemist Academy is. And that's what I feel like we relate so well. And that's even where I built my personal development program, is for women who say, I know I'm the bottleneck. I'm aware. I know what to do. I just don't understand why I'm not doing it. And really, like you said, it's the limiting beliefs and breaking through your own desire to sabotage potential progress because of the fears that it could bring up.
Yeah. I wanted to, we're going to get into so much of that, but like, I want our audience to know kind of where you started and where you came from, so that they can have a better understanding of like how, I think when people come to me to personal train, they just kind of want everything to happen right then and there, like have all the answers, cool, bang. And what they don't see is like the years of unraveling that it takes to get to where, say, you are now, or where Abigail is now, or where I am. Like, they expect that it's just this like, oh, it's just macros and training, cool, I can do that. But there's so much more to unpack in it. And so just tell us a little bit about how you started in fitness, and then kind of take us to the trajectory of where you are today.
I love telling this story because everyone's always like, holy shit, I didn't know that about you. So it's fun for me. I got cut from my high school soccer team at 16 because I was a little string bean noodle girl, and everyone else was like far developed past me. And I had no meat on my bones, no muscle, entirely unathletic. Up to that point, I did not consider myself a hard worker at all. I was just lucky, per se. I think we all kind of have the awareness of what success looks like. So I always knew I was a straight A student because I didn't want to fail, not because I was a hard worker. I just had this, okay, well, that's what I have to do. So I started going to the gym when I was 16, got a personal trainer, fell in love instantaneously. He looked at me and was like, you're going to be a personal trainer. And I was like, cool, perfect, love that. Ended up not ever trying out for the soccer team again. Started dating a bodybuilder, started bodybuilding at the ripe age of 18, had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I was off and on personal training. I actually went to school and then came back from school. I had started multiple attempts at online coaching. Nothing really ever stuck because I, again, like didn't ever think I had work ethic. So after a couple attempts at working at corporate gyms and trying to personal train, and I had run through 3 different bodybuilding preps, I finally decided, okay, fitness isn't for me. It's not what I want to do full time. I want my job to be absolutely disconnected from this. It's just not who I am. And so as I started like separating myself from that, I got a 9-to-5. I lasted 6 weeks at the 9-to-5. I had rashes up to my eyelids. I was so absolutely stressed being there. And I was just like, okay, I know I love fitness. I know that's my passion, but I'm so scared it's going to become work for me. And then I'm not going to have the thing that I love at the end of the day. So I got a different job working for a supplement company, which was close enough to what I was doing. And I had just got done competing at the time. So I was shredded to the absolute bone. I had an 8-pack at this point in time. And of course, everybody on Instagram is like, how the fuck do you look like that? Like, I want to look like that. And you guys, obviously, as competitors, know and understand what I was doing to get said 8-pack. But I had always been sharing my journey on social media since I was 18. I blocked every single person from my high school on Instagram. And I was like, everyone's like, how do you deal with the hate? I'm like, I didn't. I just blocked them.
Yeah. I didn't want them to see this.
I'm like, I don't want them to see this because I knew they were talking about me and I was in a toxic relationship. My mental health was just not in a good spot at all. But I always had this love of posting on socials. And my best friend during that time was a photographer. She had just started her photography, where she had always been a photographer, but really just started leaning into photography. And so somebody who wants to post their fitness content on Instagram, somebody who's working on their photography business, it was like a match made in heaven. Literally, I was like, cool, you and I locked into what's about to happen. Yeah. And that's where a lot of my love of like modeling and fitness content and just being a part of the fitness industry really came from, is because brands would pay her to do shoots. I actually started working for an athletic wear company back in 2020. I was their head of social media marketing and design at 20 years old. Who the fuck hired a 20-year-old to do that? I don't know, beats me. But I loved studying what did well on social media, getting to share my journey. And I did it all from such a natural place. It was never, oh, I'm going to make money off of this. It was, how do I create a successful brand? And it was in the era of like, okay, 2020 fitness influencers starting to show up more. So I was really into that. And then after I had competed, I had a following of around like 20,000, again, all just from naturally sharing through time. Of course, I had been a personal trainer, so I had attempted to do some online things every now and then, but I never gave it my full effort. And I remember I made my first PDF guide while I was working a job making $40,000 a year, and I made $2,000 in 2 days. And I was like, holy fuck. I was like, you're joking. Yeah. You're literally, and I'm 21 or 22 at this time. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I didn't know. Literally, it was like it was as if you handed me $1 million. I was locked into it. And the next week, my roommate, who was the photographer, found a girl who posted that she had made her first 10K online coaching. I mean, her like, no fucking way. You're kidding. This is just not real. We've never heard of anybody doing that before. And then the next week, that girl posted she was looking for an assistant coach. And we were like, I'm in, let's go. Literally instantly became her assistant coach. I quit my job within 2 months and was just working with her, doing absolutely everything I love. I never believed that I was in the business side of things. I just loved fitness and I loved to coach. And it got to blend the thing that I loved, which was like social media, with fitness. And you're telling me I don't have to go to a 9 to 5? Like, cool. I'm absolutely there. That relationship with her lasted about 4 months. I was an assistant coach for somewhere like 4 to 5 months. We had some type of disagreement, but I always just wanted to play the coaching role because I didn't have any confidence in myself. I didn't have any sales skills. I was really just truly winging it in my success on social media, very like influencer style. It wasn't ever thought out or to the strategy that we now know and use. And
like we all were at the beginning, like of us doing any of this, like just winging it and being like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, I got a follower from that. I'm going to keep posting that.
Like keep posting. Yeah,
exactly. And me and my roommate at the time were studying like, okay, if we put 2 blonde girls next to each other, then it goes on the explore page. And if we put this hashtag on it, then it does this. So we were really into like the analytics. Just, it was a game to us and it was so much fun. And then, so when I left being her assistant coach, I ended up like coaching every single client I had for free for the next month to attempt to like, okay, restart this whole thing on my own. And I've been full time since then. And really, it's so funny because now, right, people look at me and they're like, oh, you know the business side of things and you seem so confident and well articulated and all of these things. I was not that at all. I had no idea what I was doing. I genuinely got like pushed into the deep end with all of that. Not to mention, like during that time, I found out that my parents were getting a divorce. I was being threatened to be sued by that girl at the time. Me and my best friend were having a falling out. It was just like a literal shit show. And then from my own bodybuilding prep, my body was pretty much rejecting me. So right when fitness became my full-time job, I hated it the most, which is what a lot of like Kate was saying of where I came from, where I'm like, fuck, now this thing that I'm making money off of, I don't even like anymore because I felt like I had to be a certain version of me. I had to be this bodybuilder now, especially if my income's coming from that. And there is no other option. There is no other choice. And it really was through like the spiritual awakening, you could say, and like my connection with that and really surrendering to allowing that version of me to die and become a new version of me, that I got to like re-spark my love of fitness. Now, 3 years later, I can honestly say like I'm in love with it again, obsessed with it again. I see all the value of its worth and I understand the ebb and flow of that. And to those who are listening, no, I never stopped going to the gym the entire time, even when I hated it.
Yep. Like we're literally like, yep, like
you can't stop.
Yeah.
We literally do it not for the sake of actually sometimes wanting to, but it's a need. Like it's a necessity, a non-negotiable, if you will. Like people, I think too, because I've been in the fitness industry for so long, like, oh, it must be easy for you. I'm like, no, No.
So hard.
Like, I almost have no motivation to go to the gym ever. I would
Yeah.
not sweat sometimes and just like not do anything that day at all. But
Yeah.
like,
And the body dysmorphia of coming out of a bodybuilding prep, being absolutely shredded, and then suddenly I'm 40 pounds heavier and I feel tired. I feel puffy. I feel inflamed. I didn't want to be there by any means. And that's really when I like switched to holistic health, pulling myself out of the bodybuilding world, realizing like, okay, I'm kind of treating my body like shit. I should take a different approach to this.
Well, and that's what I was curious about when you stopped competing 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So how'd you make that switch, or what was that like? Did you lose a bunch of followers because you stopped posting? Did you keep posting and it just like was different? What did that like transition look like?
Yeah. My Instagram name used to be Kelly K Fit, and we basically like, I had a RIP death to that version of me. It was almost like bodybuilding told me that I was done. I didn't feel like I really made that decision. It was more so just like a sign from God, just an inner knowing, whatever you want to call it, of like, okay, that's not you anymore. And I was very in my hyper independent, toxic masculinity. I'd come out of an abusive relationship. So I learned very quickly of like, I need to protect myself from the world. And because I was like so small and so insecure growing up, having a big, tough personality really served me in that way to protect me. Bodybuilding just kind of doubled down on that. And so as I was doing the internal healing, I realized what I was using bodybuilding for. And the perception and persona I had created online of being Kelly K Fit really was the like dark sport, tough, rah-rah, motivational David Goggins type hype videos.
wait,
where it's like,
did you see what I tagged you in?
yes.
I need a female David Goggins like fitness or whatever. I just tagged Kelly.
I got you.
She'll tell you how it is.
Yeah,
There,
right.
there's Kelly.
Which is so funny because it's like such a different perception now, where I would say probably back then I really was more like, fuck your feelings, that doesn't matter. But
That's Abigail.
and now and then I went full, wait, feel all of your feelings. And now I'm back to, oh no, you need both. So you can't always listen to your feelings, but you can't always ignore your feelings. And now I feel like I've really like captured the in between. But to answer your question, yeah, I lost maybe 15,000 followers in the process of like not being Kelly K Fit anymore and not posting my body. I was very body centric. So I had a largely male following. And then when I started really caring about the mindset, really caring about like the spiritual awakening side of things, and I started pushing that on an audience that didn't follow me for that reason, I lost a lot. So I went from maybe 30,000. I dropped back down to something like 20 and then stayed there and just was losing and losing and losing. And after 3 years of posting mindset content in the last 6 months, it finally clicked. And I've gained like 20,000 in the last 6 months just from my own conviction of like, well, I'm not fucking changing it. You guys can hate me. I don't want you to follow me for a body anymore. Like, I'm still going to look hot, but I'm not going to let you know.
That word right there, conviction, like speaking and even coaching from a place of conviction, was the biggest mindset shift for me in the year of working with you guys. Was like, okay, I can train someone. I know how to give them a program. I know how to give them nutrition. I know it so much that it's just easy for me to do that. But like growing in my business, you have to come from a place of intention and a place of conviction. And like that is what energetically is going to pull in the people that you genuinely want to work with and can actually help. I wanted to ask, like, what are a couple other things, like maybe 2 or 3 things that you feel like you had to overcome within your business to get to where you are today? Like, what kind of masks did we have to pull off? Like, what kind of conviction did we have to speak with? Because I think that that's like what people genuinely need to hear is like, yes, it's cool to have trends and be on like, especially in social media. And as a coach, there's like, feel like, oh, well, it's saturated. And it's like, well, no, there's a piece of the pie for everybody.
It's not saturated at the top.
I hate when people say that.
I know.
It's saturated when you're copying what everybody else is doing. And I didn't see that until I pulled myself out of it. And now I look at every coaches' content and I'm like, everybody's copying each other. You guys are all doing the same iteration of the same thing. It's the same shirt in 10 different colors. And the issue when you start to speak with conviction and you say what you're really thinking is you're going to be rejected and people are not going to like you. And that's terrifying to a lot of people. So the oversaturation is safe because then I don't stand out. I'm not going to piss anybody off. It works a little bit. And that's where most people will bottleneck themselves out. Whereas every video I post now, I'm like, someone's going to fucking hate me. That's okay because it works. And equally, when you have people that hate you, you have people that love you and will stand on the same side as you. And so anybody who thinks it's oversaturated, you're probably in the wrong place, speaking to the wrong things. A huge thing of my conviction was my willingness to sound like an idiot. I would say double down and practice on that. I joined Nick's community and I didn't do coaching calls prior to like meeting him. And so seeing what he was able to do and just how well he was able to speak, I had that same goal for myself. I knew bringing people together in a community call that way. And even you can go back and watch my old videos. I can send you old trainings that I used to do. The level, even my clients bring it to me all the time. They're like, look at this video of you versus this one. It's so funny. And speaking to my own community, doing training calls and then talk to your camera 5 times a day, every single day. Everyone's so zoomed in on this piece of content creating success today. I know my content over the year is going to create success. And so we see that with a lot of entrepreneurs, and it's the same thing within fitness of like, okay, how do I feel good today? How do I create a win today? Whereas I'm zoomed out of, I have pieces of content I posted 6 months ago that are still driving people to my page because it's an investment that continues to compound and work for you in that way. So I would say dropping my ego has been one of the biggest things of the whole instant gratification, needing to always feel right. I tell everybody, I'm like, I'm patient and I will let it do its thing.
Literally.
Yeah. I'm curious because I feel like you kind of hinted at it, and I know I've heard it from you when it comes to having a business, whatever it is online. I think a lot of times people tie like the number of followers you have to like your business success. And obviously there's an element of that,
Totally.
but obviously your business shot up and you were losing followers. And I know you have talked about that for a while when you started like posting more videos of like talking and saying what you actually think and like all this kind of stuff of you see the numbers start to drop, but ironically, like your business is doubling and doing better and all of that kind of stuff. So, so for both of y'all, yeah, what did that look like? How did you kind of like get over that and realize like, okay, this isn't exactly tied to business success and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would say it took a long time for me to mentally catch up to that. It's a mind fuck when every time you post, you know somebody's gonna unfollow you. And you almost take it personally because you're that intertwined. So I would say a huge lesson for me of running a more successful business is not taking it personally, but instead knowing that I'm marketing. I'm just advertising. I'm just marketing. So when I piss somebody off or they unfollow me, cool, I did something enough to evoke a response and a reaction out of them. But like you said, my business doubled as I was losing 20,000 followers at a time. And so it really was just, I understood I just had to keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And I was like waiting for the switch. And it happened. It took one video getting 1 million views. I had posted talking head videos for 2 years. And I didn't understand what I was doing wrong until I saw the one that did well. And then I just doubled down and studied, why did this perform well? What did people like about it? Why was it different than the rest of them? And so that's where people fuck up, is they don't lean into the success and try to monopolize that. So that was huge for me in the last couple months of really just being like, hey, why did it go well? And then doubling down on all of that. And now I'm in a position where like, thankfully, like the business is growing in conjunction to that. And kind of contrary to your argument as well of I could be gaining followers and the business not be going up. And so it really is, again, the ego check of, okay, do I want it to look like I'm successful or do I actually want to be successful and to know the difference within myself?
So what, I'm sorry if I just interrupted you, but what kept you posting? You said it took 2 years before that video went off. Because I feel like that's where people stop. I don't want to keep posting for 2 years of not gaining any business, any followers, anything for 2 whole years.
Like, I don't know. I'm just delusional, I guess.
Right.
My business has always done well, thankfully. I feel like I've always shared just enough of my life online, and thankfully had started posting early on where I had enough of a bought-in audience to coast and do well. So I would say I was kind of always at an upper hand there, where a lot of coaches never built that initial trust with their audience. So they didn't have the luxury to like coast and post half-ass content and it keep them afloat. And so like I was doing well for a 24-year-old in that time. Like I was doing decently okay, but it wasn't something I was ever proud of. This is the first year I've been proud of my business, which is even just like the words coming out of my mouth is so fun to me because I know I'm putting in the work and the effort.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is the first year I'm proud of mine too.
I haven't met you.
She's like, I've literally been proud of you. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I wanted to like double down too on what Kelly was talking about building trust with your audience. I've had probably 12.K 7, like I've never think I've gone above 14. Like I've had that kind of amount of follower for like 3 years. Like never has it really gone up much. It's never dropped down below 10K. Like it just kind of sits right here. And I used to like tie so much of my worth into that and be like, am I not saying the right things? Am I not? But like, I was still always myself. Like I'm just that kind of person. I can't like not be myself. Like I'm like, I don't know how. So like my audience always kind of knew what they were getting and still do. But the thing is like, I thought too, when working with you was like, well, but my business is still really successful. So that means I'm just nurturing the people that I have and getting them to trust me more. And so if I say something that's like, maybe I feel a little bit more convicted from it and I know it's going to trigger some people, or I know that like I'm really just reaching for that girl who's like just been sitting on the fence for a year and a half. Like I'm literally talking to you. I don't, so like when I get maybe 500 views within a day, like within a day of a video, usually mine go to like 2.5, 3K views. And then they just kind of like maybe they'll get to 10. Nothing's really popped off other than like my one hot dog video that got like, I was like,
dog video.
Bro, we can't even go another. We don't have time. But like I just know that even if I'm getting 500 like views that day, there are 10 people in that needed to hear that and needed to hear me talk from a place of conviction. And I'm like, so I don't really care how many views, how many followers, like as long as I feel like my audience can trust me ultimately at the end of the day, and even then you have to look at it like if, okay, 500 people are viewing it, I could not talk to 500 people in front of me right now. Like
you could.
I could. But like at the end of the day, like that's a really still like a large amount. So it's like, I don't care. I just want whoever it's for, whatever God has placed on my heart, whatever like I'm supposed to be speaking on. As long as I'm doing it, then like I can't let the numbers get to me in an emotional way or my worth. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people will start to like archive videos or delete them if they're not performing well. That is where people fuck up. I'm like, one, you're letting something outside of you control you. And two, again, content is an investment bank. So every single time I post, even if that video doesn't necessarily perform well, what if another one does? And that causes you to come to my page and now you're binging all of my content. And then that's the one that speaks to you. And so again, it comes down to like, are you focused on the instant gratification? Are people liking it right now versus having a piece of content that somebody just happens to stumble upon when they're creeping on your Instagram and they're like, damn, that was the one. And that triggers the response for them.
I think that's the hard part with social media is that it's like, as an entrepreneur on social media, you have to delay instant gratification, but it's such an instant gratification place. So it's like this dichotomy the whole time of like, I really want to get a ton of likes on this, but I know if I keep posting, it's going to play out. So,
and even you saying like the likes thing, I can post a picture of my ass and it'll get 50 times as many likes as the talking head videos for me. And that's kind of what I had given my in-person presentation about, is if I listened to the analytics, I would be posting my body every single day. But I had this like intuitive pull that that wasn't what I was meant for. And I knew that there was women out there who needed to hear what I had to say. And so when I was going based off analytics and my page just growing, it would grow, but it would be male followers who I don't want. And they're buying in for the wrong reasons. And I don't even want a woman to come work with me because of the way I look anymore. I want her to do it because she wants to be like me in the sense of my like character traits, my core value, my articulation, the life that I get to live, how good I get to feel on a day-to-day basis. That's the energy that I want to draw and attract. And I kept saying that was the energy. And then I was still posting like an influencer and still posting my body. And it's like, girl, you need to pick one. You can't say you want something and then operate entirely differently.
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to I'm glad you kind of brought that up about like women working with you. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what you've seen most here recently about like what women struggle with and like what's keeping them in this, especially in the cycle of like losing and gaining the same 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds. I feel like it's more difficult for them to do that than it is for them to start their journey. Like, because there's so many blocks there. You can disagree with me, like, but what is it that you see here recently within like your coaching that women are struggling with the most from a fitness standpoint, but also it'll relate to other things?
It always relates to all of it. I would say the lack of belief in the process is for women who struggle committing the first time, because once you commit the first time, you see that it works. Getting somebody to trust us in the process when they have no reason to is the hardest part. So that's I'm stuck. I've tried everything. They genuinely believe in their heads that they've tried everything, even though we know as the professionals of the situation, no, you haven't. That's really sweet that you think you have. I promise you haven't, because if you did, you'd be fucking hot and fit by now, but we don't have to go into that. And so I understand the mental shift of that. And so it really comes down to like studying the human behavior. So to me, it's funny because it's like, oh, you guys are just fitness coaches. And I'm like, no, I understand every little tiny move that you make. I understand your emotional reaction to the fact that you got a text that pissed you off and now you're standing in your pantry, but then you're going to come tell me that you've been eating clean, even though you just got sad and then binge ate for an hour and you're too ashamed to come talk to somebody about it. So you're just going to continue to shove it down and shove it down and shove it down. All or nothing, I would say, is as prevalent as it's always been, of the, well, if I can't do it perfectly, I'm not going to do it all.
Yeah.
It's and even just relaying to them, I'm so like education and science based, but then I also understand that like women are emotionally driven. So taking everything that we know from the science side and the psychology side and like pattern recognition and all of those things to like create a reality of them, of like you said, we play the long game here, but as humans, especially in an Amazon Prime social media, I can open my phone and get whatever I want world, to not do that for your body and to teach the delayed gratification. I would say that's like by far the hardest part.
Yeah.
What's the like one thing, it probably has to do with that, but if you could just be like, just believe this one thing, it would change everything, what would that be?
The power of what they believe. So when they are locked in on, oh, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And if I'm like, if I can even just get you to be delusional, I've had women who come in and they are not doing it right by any means, but they're like, dude, fuck yeah, I feel so good, I'm making progress. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Okay. Sure. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm going to keep like nudging you in the right direction. I swear to you, I had a girl. I've never seen like a high adherence protocol check-in from her. Girl lost 20 pounds, had one of the best fucking transformations I've ever seen. I'm like, her straight up delusion allowed her to have this transformation because she believed in herself. And that's when I realized like, oh, people only ever need somebody to believe in them. And most of the time they don't believe in themselves. And so I'm like, you can borrow ours and my team will carry you until you have it in yourself once you start to see and stack that evidence. So I'm just like, even if you just want to be delusional, that's fine.
Yeah.
just need you to start somewhere. I just need you to
Yes.
like start somewhere.
Just believe you can do it, and that will take you further.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're so bought in on the fact that you can't, and then you can't, and you're like, see, I knew it. I'm like, ah.
I think it's so interesting as I like have developed as a coach as how much like needed it is for me to understand them on a mindset level, a behavioral level, an emotional level.
Yep.
Like my I have to really like skim down, like you have the weekly check-ins and like the protocols and just like the biofeedback response and stuff. It takes everything in me about just not make that thing a mile long, because like this is how much it takes for me to really understand. Like, yes, I could just ask you, were you adherent to the training program? Were you adherent to the nutrition protocols? Like, and that be it. And that probably get us by a pretty good bit. But then like, I need to know how you slept. I need to know what your stress level was like. I need to know how you felt about your body this week. I need to know
Yep.
how you felt. I need to know all of these other things before I can just be like, okay, yeah, I want you to eat 10 grams, 20 grams less carbs. Like I
It's
can't.
like people slide in your DMs and they're like, hey, I'm not losing weight. Can you tell me why? And you're like, do you understand I need to do a 2-hour analysis on what you're doing in order to tell you like why something isn't happening? I have the same conversation with my coaches this morning. We have 2 different women who are experiencing 2 entirely different problems. One spirals, or she like went to the gym was too busy for her, and she texted one of my coaches and was like, hey, can I just go home and like come back and do it tomorrow? And we
Okay, you were pregnant though.
which like again, and this is where it's like such a cool analysis of it. That girl can't afford for us to tell her it's okay to go home. She is in the stage of her fitness and her life where it's like, no, home dog, you need to understand that you're uncomfortable. That's okay. Like, we're going to have to push through that because she hasn't learned that yet. Whereas we have women who adhere so perfectly that I'm stressed about how perfect they are. I'm stressed that you do not take your free meal. I'm stressed that you do everything so to the T that if she texted me and was like, hey, like, I need to go home, I'd be like, fuck yeah, go home. That's exactly what you need.
What?
So
Take 3 days off from the gym.
take the whole week. I don't even want you to look at a dumbbell this week.
Yep.
And so
I
as a
literally
coach,
just did this last week. Like,
yeah, being able to analyze and know, okay, what response does this individual need from me? And that's where a lot of people have resistance to the coaching world, is they're like, yeah, I felt like just another number to my coach. Like, we are analyzing every single one of you. I have a written report on what we think you're going to do, like who you are, your tendencies, the way that you respond to feedback, the way that you respond to authority, the way that you make decisions. Like, we are that committed to knowing what you need versus, oh, here's a protocol, go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Abigail.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna like agree, because I've literally seen that across so many of my clients, who I give them the initial, and the thing is like, I'm like, I could word vomit on you all day about like protocols and what you need to do and what this, but like I need you to just, and this is why, like within our coaching, I have had like 3-month commitments, 6-month commitments, year-long commitments. And like every time I even touched on the 3-month commitment, I'd be like, but you need more than 12 weeks. So like, because
Like 12 weeks is nothing.
it's
It's not gonna do it.
nothing. 3 months is absolutely nothing to like break apart the patterns and the like behavioral and the thought process that has gotten like you to this place to need us.
Totally.
And be inquiring about about needing a coach. And yeah, now I've like gone away with my 3-month, because I'm
You're
like,
this isn't
oh,
gonna do anything.
because I need you to like really
Buy in.
buy in, but like Shrek, like ogres are like onions, we're just like peeling back like layers of it. But like it's so true about what it is kind of to work with a female who has struggled with either never having done anything for her health in her life, or maybe is the one that is just repetitive cycle of gaining and losing the same weight over and over and over. Like there's just I'm like, cool, yeah, we're gonna get into like the training and nutrition part of it, but there's just all these other things that we have to break apart first.
Yeah.
That actually, that's what kind of the next thing I was going to ask was, I feel like a lot of the conversations I've had recently is people, specifically women, not buying off or not fully convinced that how they're feeling inside, their stress, the emotional side of things really does affect all. It's like they just want the perfect workout plan, and then they don't follow it, and then they want new numbers next week, even though they didn't follow the week before. And I'm like, okay, I need you to buy off on the fact that it's not the program that's the problem. Like, it really is the mental side of things.
Yeah.
And so what do you say to women when you see them kind of struggling with that?
Yeah, we have a strict, like, we will not change anything unless you adhere to it for at least 2 weeks policy. And I tell them, I'm like, you can sign a year commitment and I won't change your protocol once. It's not up to me, it's up to you. And so it really like I push full responsibility on them. And I equally understand the role we play in teaching them what it looks like to take full responsibility of these things. Cause right, they're just like unfamiliar and don't know. And so that's where my shift in content has really come through and help is I tell them I'm okay if you hate me, because when you get the results at the end of the day, you will love me. So if you want to have this resentment towards me and you want to be pissed off at me, be pissed off at yourself that you can't do it. And like, that's where my year-long commitment comes in, is I tell them phase 1 of you nailing the foundations can happen in 6 weeks or it can happen in 6 months. You tell me. And so always kind of just pushing it back on them, but equally the NLP background, subconscious awareness, all of these things of a deeper understanding of, okay, when do we need to hop on the phone? Because what's really going on here? What happens every single day that you can't follow through? What comes up for you? Because if it's constantly, oh, things in my external world, cool. Let me tell you, life's not slowing down anytime soon. The world's going to keep on turning and things are going to show up at your doorstep. Your fucking neighbor's house is going to catch on fire. Your kids running around it's all going to happen every single day. So you waiting for all of those things to be perfect for you to operate at 100%, cool. Nothing's going to change. A question I've been asking a lot lately is like, okay, if nothing about your current circumstances changed, what would have to change? And then they're like, oh, well, why? I guess I would have to change, or the way I go about it, or the way that I view it, my mindset. Like, yeah, I guess I would have to like waking up a little bit earlier, or I would have to ask for help from my mother-in-law to come watch the kids so I can go to the gym, whatever it looks like in that realm. And so we do a lot of the mindset in relation to just being an active participant in your life versus being a passive follower of a PDF program that you bought from some influencer and now you're pissed that it didn't.
Yes.
Last talk we talked to Allie, and we spent a lot of the time talking about being an advocate for yourself, because if you're not going to do it, you cannot expect anyone else to, and you cannot expect anyone to read your mind either as to like what your needs are. Like, say you are married and you have kids, and like I'm not married and have kids, but you're married and you're about to have a kid. Like, we're on all these different walks, but like, I know if Abigail doesn't communicate with her husband about, hey, I need to do a mile walk in the morning. I need to do 20 minutes of steps outside just to get my mind straight and to show up in the world and be intentional. Like, if we don't communicate that with our partner or our husband or whoever, then they can't see that we need that. So we have to kind of show up and be an advocate for ourselves, not just assume that people aren't going to want to help us in that way,
And I've always been a huge proponent of, I think we've talked about it before, but like buying the program or hiring the coach or focusing on fitness goals when you're broke, busy, and have a million things going on, because one, it worked for me, so I know it works, but also like it worked for you, but because you have to figure it out. And like you always do, you always find the extra $500 that you need, or like you always find the 30 minutes that you needed to go get the walk in. But if you do it when you're busy, or when you have the money and you have the time, like you make all these excuses as to why you can't. And so like I feel like that also helps with the mental side of things, in the sense that like we have to figure out how to make this work. So if it's not working, let's dig into why. And it kind of like I don't know, opens or
I know-
breaks that barrier.
I know Kelly's a big, I'll let her talk on this, but I know she's a big, like, I'll figure it out person like we are. And like all the girls that we've actually, like the most high successful performing women I've ever met are just like, I don't know, I've got like 2 quarters
Yeah.
to my name. I'll figure it out though. Like,
Yeah.
and you listen to that small voice in your head that says, hey, pivot. Like, but I have this 9 to 5 pivot. And
Yep.
you've taken that courage and like that self-belief and go, okay, like, and you figure it out. So like, tell us a little bit about that. Cause I know that that's a big deal for you.
I think people change their lives when their backs are against a wall. And that's pretty much, I can learn everything about a person by that decision that they make. And I chalk it back to, when I quit being the assistant coach, I could have gone back to a 9 to 5. But in my brain, there was no choice. And so it really was just like, okay, no, I'm making this work. That's what it is. It didn't even cross my mind to be like, well, of course I had insecurities like every normal person, but when your back is against the wall, that's the time that you like can leverage and make change. I even talk about like this apartment. I probably shouldn't have signed the fucking lease.
Bring that up.
Probably shouldn't have signed the lease for it. It was a little more than I had in my bank to like be ready and prepared for that. But I knew it would force me to rise to the occasion. I was having a conversation with a girl about this the other day. She was asking about the spirituality side of things and being like materialistic in that way. And I was explaining to her the energetics of it. So like when I switched from my 2013 Nissan Altima to my BMW, it wasn't about the car itself. It was about who I am when I drive that car. Who am I when I'm walking to that car in the parking lot? Like, who is the kind of woman that drives that? And so I love putting myself in a situation where it's like, all right, girl, pay your ridiculous rent, like pay the money for the nice car, because then you show up as the person who has to do those things. And it's like, and even a good lesson for somebody who is a high achiever is when you said like in my head, oh, I have no other choice. I really have to slow myself down and have gratitude for like, no, I did have another choice. I could have rolled over. I could have equally like said it. And same thing of, this is unrelated but related. My like ex-boyfriend cheated on me. And I always said like I had no other choice but to leave. And learning like self-appreciation and forgiveness and pride to say, no, I could have stayed. A lot of women do stay. And I chose to get myself out of something that, quote unquote, I felt like I had no other choice to. And so even like practicing pointing out the areas in your life where you do those hard things that you felt like your back was against the wall.
I feel like that's a common trait that high achievers have, of like not recognizing like, hey, that was actually a really big deal that you did. And to all of us, we're like, what do you mean? Like, that's what I had to do. And
I
you're
moved
like,
across the country, and like literally this is the first apartment I've ever paid for entirely by myself because I was living with him. And I was just like, oh, I just had to. And everyone's like, no, you didn't have to.
oh,
I know we're great mirrors to each other. I'm sure like you and Rachel are, you know, like she'll be like, the fact that you had your own business for 3 years and you just like, not a lot of people do that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like, it could be better, you know, I'm like,
Literally.
it's not great. It could be like, but you know, you just kind of are like, yeah, but I've got so many other kinks to figure out. And you just don't see that like, oh no, I could have just worked at the bank that I was working at for the rest of my life. And that would have been normal, would have been fine. But like, wasn't that little voice in the back of my head? Like it was just me not ignoring her and me taking a chance on her. I wanted to talk a little bit too about like, we're both, and I speak a lot on this in my group, like in my coaching group, we're very future focused. Like if there's a certain person that qualities that you like in someone, or qualities that you think you're like, I just want to be this girl that just wakes up at 5 a.m. like and gets her workout in before work and like you have all this different like future focus that and like the steps to become that person, you know. And I think that that's like what you're talking about too when we have our backs up against a wall is like, I want to be, when we drive the BMW, well, I want to be that girl. Like I wanted to be her, so I became her. And I want you to talk a little bit more on like the energetics behind that of when we future pace and like we've done this so many times in like the training with an impact of just like writing letters to ourselves 6 months from now and being like, talk about where you are right now. And like, I'll have my girls get so detailed. What do you smell like? Like, what do you like? How are you showing up in the world? What are your friendships like? What are your, because then you have, and then a lot of my girls go, well, I don't know. I'm like, but that's the problem. Like, that is
Right.
why you are still in these cycles that you are, is because you don't know what you want, but you do, but you're just not telling yourself and you're not allowing yourself to hear that. So
Yeah.
like a little bit about that from an energetic standpoint, and then also just realistically.
Yeah. More women are clear on what they don't want than what they do want. And the idea of writing down what they do want, they're not committed to, or they have a lot of fear because they're judging it based off of who they've been up until this point. And then, so it's like everything that you've ever done has created this version of you, and then you don't like this version of you. And then they don't really know what to do from that point. I have an analogy that I use to like paint this picture for a lot of people where they're like, okay, manifestation, faith, I'm confused, all the things. How much do I force it? How much do I just like sit on my pillow and trust that God's going to make it happen? And I call it praying and running for the bus. So let's say the bus is pulling up and you're 100 yards out from it. You're not just going to sit there and be like, gosh, I really hope I make the bus. That would suck if I missed it. And you also don't just start running thinking of all the negative things. Oh, I already missed it, because that's just going to like slow your energy down. And so I call it running as fast as you, excuse my language, fucking can towards that bus, and praying that it's going to work out. So even if I miss this bus, at least I'm here at the bus stop. So when the next one pulls up, I'll be able to get on it. And so it's the combination of doing everything in your immediate power as if the thing is going to work out for you. And I just had this conversation with one of my friends of something that's like been on my horizon, and I'm unsure of if I'm going to get the opportunity to do it. And instead of sitting around waiting, I was like, oh, I need to start preparing like I got it already. And so now it's a part of my like daily routine to, there's like back end things that I need to start preparing for when it happens. Am I sure it's going to happen? I have no idea. But all I can do is like hold my own weight, and my energy behind like preparing for it is energetically aligning me with the opportunity itself. Versus if I wasn't prepared, let's say the opportunity comes along and then I'm in the energy of like, fuck, I'm not ready. So now it's going to pass me by. And so that's a lot of like, we tend to, oh, I want to be this girl, but then you're not doing anything to act like the girl. I've never found a lot of success in future pacing for myself, which is funny. I don't think more than 24 hours in front of my head, which is so funny because everyone's like, oh, entrepreneurs and planning and business and all these things. I just started planning in the last 6 months, but I realized it was like trauma based, that I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my ability to like make hard decisions or say no or set boundaries, or I struggled a lot with mental health in my like late teens, early 20s, where I didn't know how I was going to feel on that day. I didn't know if I was going to be over the moon anxious. And then if I felt anxious, I wouldn't force myself to go. Or if I was like really sad and depressed that day, or just out of it, I would allow my emotions to control me. So it really scared me to put plans on the calendar, because then I didn't know how I was going to feel, and I didn't trust myself to like push through anyway. And when you have that relationship with your emotions, they then start to control you. And then over time, like through a lot of healing and therapy and medication and off medication and all of the breath work and meditation and all of the things, I wake up and I feel nearly the same every single day. And when I don't, I process my emotions, I hold space for them, I don't allow them to control me, and then I keep moving forward in that way. And so I think so much of the manifestation and becoming that girl for women specifically is learn your cycle, learn how to process your emotions, learn how to hold space for your emotions, become emotionally intelligent, and then you become that girl. And that I feel like isn't talked about enough.
Dude, yes. Mic drop. Or what do we say? Bars.
Bars.
No, I completely agree, because I think that that's what I'm coming to realize as I'm deepening my relationship with myself as a coach, as a friend, as a daughter, as whatever it is that God does have planned for me, is to understand, if I can take all of this and understand who I am at my core, and like what my, I've already kind of been through this. This was all this past year for me. It was like learning my triggers, learning why I dealt with depression, anxiety for so long, that kept me stunted in my business growth, that kept me stunted as a person, why I was repeating the same cycles with guys, like all of these different things. And now that I know that stuff about me, I can come, like, I've stepped into that person that I wrote the note to, like, oh, this was 6 months. Like, I think the last like meetup or whatever, we sat in a couple like meditations. I was like, wasn't really like seeing anything. I was like, I feel like I kind of already am this person that like set out to be when I first joined, you know? So it's like, so I'm just gonna sit here and close my eyes and just like, you know, hope,
Just feel it, be it.
feel it, but also like hope and pray that everyone else starts to feel that way too. Like just at least send good vibes out to other people, you know, kind of thing. But,
I,
go ahead.
so obviously I just got married, so everything that, or, you know, I'm doing lots of advice and all this kind of stuff, but it's very similar to like any, like starting a business or starting fitness goals or starting, it's just a change. It's a massive change. And I feel like when you get stressed, all you do is focus on the negatives of like, why isn't this the way I want? Why isn't this the way I want? And I heard this advice not too long ago that was, the person was like, we were specifically talking about like how you want the house to feel when you get home. And I was talking about like, I don't like this and I don't want to come home to this and I don't want da 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 da. And he's like, okay, well, how do you want the house to feel? And it's like, I want it to be a safe place. I want it to be, I want to be present. I want this. And it was kind of what you were talking about of back planning. Okay, so if you want to feel present when you get home, what needs to happen before you get home?
Right.
Okay, so for you, that means like you have to go to the gym before you get home. You can't go home and then go back out because that's all you're going to focus on. You can't, you know, finish the email at home. Like you need to sit in the car, read that email, then walk into the house, like things like that. So it's okay, what's the positive? How do you want your life to look? And then what can we do in order to make that happen? Versus like, I'm going to focus so much on, I hate this, I hate that, and I don't know how to fix any of it. Because a lot of times it's emotions and it's how I feel about certain things. And you're like, I don't know how to fix that until you look at, okay, well, this is what I actually want. This is who I want to be. What do I need to do to make that happen? So I think it was kind of cool because it was in a, you know, marriage sense, but I think it applies to everything. So
Yeah. Even just sitting with and forcing yourself to sit with, okay, I know I don't want that. So what would the opposite of that be? And
exactly.
creating clarity. Even I know sometimes for women, 5-year goals are big and scary. Even a year goal can be big and scary. So cool. In 6 months, how do you want to feel? What does that look like to you? Describe it in detail. And again, I mean, we all deal with it of the, I just want to lose weight. I'm like, got it. Or I just want to be toned. I'm like, cool. What does that mean? And one of the things that I ask is, what is the I got it moment for you? So describe that to me. And everybody's is going to be different. For some people, it's the pursuit of the thing. For some people, it's having the thing. And some people, it's the reflection of the moment of the thing. I'm somebody who it takes me a long time after. It'll be like 2 years later. I'll be like, damn, I really did that. So I have to just like bank on the fact that, okay, it's going to happen. And then 2 years later, it'll feel really real to me. And so I've been trying to like backpedal that more and more and more to then be in the present moment to be like, oh, this is that thing I had always prayed for and wanted to work towards. And like you guys were really talking about is like full body feeling it, which comes down to if you don't allow yourself to full body feel the negative, you'll never allow yourself to full body feel the positive. So a lot of women are like, well, I don't know what I want. Or I don't know what good feels like. I don't know what gratitude feels like. I'm not able to feel that like connected to my goals in that way. And it's because they're so disconnected from the current pain that they feel. And so that's typically where like I'll root a lot of the starting place of figuring out what they do want.
I think for as long as women are constantly feeling in a state of dysregulation, like you genuinely won't know up from down.
Yeah.
Like you genuinely, I know that she's worked through it. Like I've worked through it. As so many of our listeners have worked through it or are currently it's being brought to their attention of how long they've been in like constant dysregulation with themselves emotionally. So it's stunting. Like we've said this on the podcast with Megan, where if your body doesn't feel safe, it's not going to lose weight. Like there's other things that we need to tackle first before. And you know, it's hard too because like we might have certifications, like you might have your NLP and you might have, but we're also not therapists at the end of the day. But at the same time, it's like, but damn it, we are. But damn it, we are. So it's like we kind of have to integrate that into our training and and then it starts to trickle and make sense for that person. Like I think the most successful clients I've seen are like, because they are so forthcoming with things that are going on in their life. Like it's just not.
Well, that's how like transformation comes. I don't think
Yeah.
it comes without that piece. Like, yeah, you can have a banging body that you're gonna lose in a year if you don't work on those things.
Yeah.
So
Last thing, we're gonna do a rapid fire of hot or not, or this or that. But I came up with a couple, and I think Abigail did too. So
Do I explain my vote or do I just
yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Because like I've done it before, and I was like, but wait, I'm out. It's like, it's
I have
not-
other things to say.
Yeah, but okay, so we're just gonna start with the first one, therapy, hot or not.
hot?
Okay.
I'm a fan.
Okay.
And there's so much work beyond that. So like if that's your stepping stone, I'm a big fan.
Yep.
Don't let it be the end all be all.
You'll like this one, solo travel.
Yes, hot. I'm obsessed. Literally, I'm obsessed. I won't shut up. I look every girl in the eyes and I'm like, you need to solo travel. You need to solo travel. Like it literally changed my life.
She just came back from Hawaii. Like we went to Hawaii together, ran a marathon. We ran it, but like the last 6 miles, I think were really a nice little walk.
We
but
participated.
We participated in a marathon. But your little capture of Hawaii, I was like, oh, that was Abigail and I's like little like I mean, your mom came and like we hung out with 2 other girls that were there, but like at the same time it was and I've been to Alaska by myself. Like so you doing that, I think
It's amazing.
every girl needs to go solo travel for once.
I'm a huge fan. I'm going to Europe
They
in a
love
couple weeks.
You got to figure out how to hang out with yourself. Like people that don't
Yes.
like it, I'm like,
Facts.
I have to.
I also live alone, and so it's like same vibes. And then also I had seen someone post it before and they were like, what if you treated your life like you were living in an Airbnb? And I viewed it from that lens of like, okay, you go to the coffee shop, then I'm not just going to sit in this Airbnb. Like I'm in this new place. Let me go out and discover. And so even just like carrying that same energy back to Austin of, okay, like, yeah, don't just sit in your house, like go outside, go to the park, be present as if you're like discovering it from a new lens.
Yeah.
Okay, hybrid athlete Austin men with mustaches.
They are hot, but
But no.
I'm not participating in that. No.
I was like reading these off to Abigail and she's like, that's really
so specific.
It's until you go on the trail and there's 100 of them.
Yep.
And you're like, y'all look the same.
I was laughing. Was it you and I talked? I can't remember. I think it was us, but we were like, why is all of a sudden the hybrid athlete thing such a big, like it's always been a thing. Just be mediocre at every sport.
Literally.
Why do we call it something now? Make it sound cool.
Yeah, if we could get rid of the label, I wish half of them would know they don't look good with the mustache and I need them to buy longer shorts and then I'm good with it.
Yeah. Okay, red light therapy.
I don't do it. So I'll say no. I know the benefits of it are so good and I should do it, but I personally don't partake.
Let's subcategorize that. What beauty hacks or like what things do you feel like are non-negotiable for you?
Get off birth control.
Facts. You know what I was explaining to somebody the other day? Who was it? I was saying when I got off, I literally felt like somebody took Vaseline out of my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Like my mental health, my skin, my hair, like just every single thing. Everyone's always like, what's your skincare routine? I'm like, you guys would hate me because I don't have one.
Literally a bar of soap on my face.
I sleep with my makeup on a lot because I forget to take it off. I'm so sorry.
I literally my friend is I think 8 weeks, 9 weeks post.
Oh, that's the worst part, but
postpartum, like she just had a Allie. Just had her baby, and she asked me, she's having really bad postpartum depression, and I know she would be okay with me saying that, but like she's struggling really bad, and she was like, I think I need to get like, what do you think about me getting off birth control? I was like, what? Please get off of it. I was like that. I think it has actually been shown to make postpartum depression worse. So like,
Yeah.
Let your body reset. And real fast, this is why do you say that? why do you say get off birth control?
Yeah.
Because everyone like asks me, and I have my reasons, and I have my different. But I want other coaches to say that, like,
and I'm sure everyone's is so vastly different. I used to be a like, oh, I feel pain, Advil. I don't like what's going on in my head, SSRIs. I can't sleep, trazodone. I was on literally everything. I diagnosed ADHD. Cool, I'm on Adderall. And then I realized how disconnected I was from my body. And I understand at a macro level how that's what you're fucking a conspiracy theorist. That's what they want. Like they want us to be disconnected from our bodies because then we don't know our inherent truth and we're not able to stand fully in that and make our own decisions. And so for me, it was about reconnecting to myself. I don't want to say it did it. So like this is just a hypothesis, but my mental health has been tenfold more clear since getting off it because you get put on it at 15 when you don't know who you are and you don't know how to listen to your body. And I think a woman being in tune with her own natural cycle tells you nearly everything you need to know. And so anything that stands between me and my sixth vital sign is interfering with just my connection to myself. And I was reading a book and it was basically describing how your body always wants to heal. We just have to give it the opportunity to. Like I never ask a scar to heal. I never have to think about it. It just does it naturally. So we need to set the environment accordingly. And so just the amount of, and again, you could go down the ingredient rabbit hole and the endocrine disruptor rabbit hole and the all of those things. And so for me, it was.
I was literally gonna say you're speaking Abigail's like love right now by being like holistic and all that because that's what she's going back to school for and to like.
Yeah, it was like an awakening of holy shit, get everything out of my body and let me just be more mindful about what it is. And so now again, same thing. I swung really, really hard of being like nothing on my body. And now I'm like, okay, I need to wear the deodorant because I did.
Literally about to say that. I go, I'm the exact same way, but golly, my armpits stink.
And it's to the point now that I'm like, I did 3 years of like no toxic anything. And I just last week bought my first like real deodorant, but it's like, I still clean with natural cleaning products. I still am checking for seed oils, which like fight me about the seed oils type of situation. But it's like, that to me is like as closely connected as I can be to my body because my body and mind are on the same team. And so often it feels like they're not for a lot of women. And so anything I can to remember, like keeping that dynamic as clear as I possibly can.
I just don't understand when somebody's like, well, have a headache or you have a headache, take Tylenol, like you were saying. Like, are you not curious why you have a headache? Does it not? Yeah. Because that's how I'm like, no, I'm not taking Tylenol. I won't know how to fix it then. Like it,
yeah,
my mind, but.
Yep.
That's such a good example too of not being able to sit in pain and discomfort that is self-caused.
Right.
So it's like, oh, if I have a Band-Aid solution to everything, why don't I have a Band-Aid solution to like weight loss and business? And it's like, why can't I stick to anything? It's like, because you look for the quick fix as quickly as I can get out of this discomfort as I possibly can versus like, yeah, you're going to be uncomfortable because like, or if you drink too much and you're like taking Advil, it's like, no, you chose to drink too much. You have a hangover, drink some water and call it a day.
Yeah. Literally.
Someone in my on a question box, they were like, I have a consistency problem. Like, there's no magic pill for like consistency. And I was just like, why do you need you don't have a consistency problem. You have a systems problem. Like and then I just wrote this whole thing. I was like, and then I put my phone down. I was like, I need to like go back and like for like a thing.
I tell everybody that is when you make content. When you're pissed off enough that you need to set your phone down, I need you to pick it back up and I need you to fucking yell and then I want you to post it.
Literally.
Yes. Okay, next one. Hot or not Pilates for strength training?
No. This is unpopular opinion. I don't like Pilates. I'm a yoga girl through and through.
I love yoga way more than I like Pilates. Have I taken a Pilates class? No.
It's really not that great.
I just refuse to pay. Like, why is it so expensive?
Yeah. That too.
I don't know. I'm a ClassPass stan, I will say. And if you guys use ClassPass, you can also work at a WeWork if you use a ClassPass.
What?
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, cool. I love my weekly yoga session. WeWork. I'm golden.
Yeah.
High Rocks, hot or not?
I have beef.
I know.
I have beef because I sprained my own ankle in High Rocks training. So I raw dogged my High Rocks and I'm not a runner. I was a bodybuilder. Will I do it again just to prove a point? Yes.
We did a duel, like the same thing that you and Jenny did. That was our first one together. I'm like, we do the sled push, whichever one is second. And I wrecked my foot. We're also training for the Hawaii Marathon soon. So
Running a marathon's insane. You guys are insane for that.
We realized it was insane, so we just stopped training and figured raw dogging a marathon would be better than training for one. I stand by that.
We trained for up to 15 miles, and that was the furthest we'd run. And we're like, we can do another 11. Like,
what is that?
But like I did the sled push, and my foot, like something I don't even still to this day don't know what happened, but like the bottom of my foot just like was like a stabbing pain every time I planted on that foot. And I was like, as soon as that happened, we go around for the next ones, and I was like, oh, I think I hurt myself. Like, I was like, I genuinely think I hurt myself. And we were like, she ended up, I mean, she might as well just carry me on her back the whole time. Like, cause like I was like slowing us down. Like, we finished it.
Yeah.
And then when you saw me at High Rocks, I did it again with my friend Keaton, because I was like,
she literally was like, we have to do that again though.
I was like,
yeah.
And Abigail was like, you can do it. I'm not doing it.
I think that's the, like, there is no other choice within your brain. You're like, yeah, I get that. And everyone's like, oh, but rhabdo. I'm like, I already gave myself rhabdo once. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
What's twice?
Margaritas, hot or not?
Hot. I love margaritas.
Same. I miss them, but
that will be the first thing I drink postpartum.
Oh yeah.
Mark that down.
Write that down.
Extra salt, just something about it. I'm like, I'm health through and through. There's no food I crave. I never want anything. So when someone's like, you want to go out to dinner? I'm like, well, I want to go out to a margarita.
Yeah. What's your margarita of choice?
House with extra salt. I like it normal.
I'm a spicy marg girl, so like that's why I ask. Like I want jalapenos and shit in it. Okay, setting boundaries for yourself, hot or not?
Hot. Follow through on that.
Okay. Morning workouts or afternoon workouts?
Afternoon.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Always been, yeah.
Hey.
I actually wasn't expecting that. I'm like a 9 a.m. girl. Like if I don't want to work out.
It's like an afternoon.
But I like a 9 a.m. or a 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, here in 9 a.m. because that's the most food I'm getting in the morning. I want to go immediately to the
Totally. I like that 1 p.m. situation. I did 5 a.m. for maybe like 5 months. And then I realized that was probably like disrupting my sleep. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll stop.
Last one, pineapple pizza or no?
No, not a fan.
I don't know. I think if pizza were in front of me, I'd just be like, great.
Literally. I'm actually not picky enough.
Like, I'm like, I don't give a shit. There's pineapple, great. Like,
I want to know who thought, let me put fruit on. That's weird to me. Whatever.
Yeah. But anyway, Kelly, that is all that we have. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
Knew that you would be the perfect guest, as all 3 of the girls that we've had on so far have been. But is there anything else you'd like to leave for the audience? Any last words?
I don't think so. I feel like we really nailed that. Like that was really good.
Yeah. We're done. Thank you again, Kelly. And
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.